Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast. Today our topic is Real Estate Investor Mom Cracks Success Code.
Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast with Scott Whitwam, your blueprint to financial abundance. Settle in as we explore the mindset and methods for wealth building through real estate.
Welcome back. I'm Scott Whitwam, and I'm glad you joined me today for Real Estate Investor Mom Cracks Success Code. As a real estate investor for many years, I've learned that there are specific actions that are profitable and others that can be detrimental. We call the system and processes that lend to profitability and success a code. If you can crack this code, you have the secrets to making game-changing money. Cracking the success code on your own can take years and years to do. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a seasoned investor. We can all benefit from the secrets that have led to success in others in this industry. Today, I have a special guest with me on the podcast. She is a mom, grandmother, a successful real estate investor, and a personal friend, Beth Eaton. Beth, welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast.
Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here. I was thinking about it the other day, and it's actually been quite a while since you, Dale, Tina, and I have known each other. And I was thinking it's got to be at least 23 years now.
Wow, you're right. It's been a long time. Our kids were all similar in age and went to school together, and we went to church together in our little town called Oakville that we still live in most of the time.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been that long, though, but now we both got grandkids, and it's like, wow, look how time flies. Oh, but it'd be really easy for me to go down Old Home Week because there's a lot of good memories and in those early days, things we did together and the fun we had at church and stuff. But this is a real estate investing podcast, so maybe we probably should talk a little bit about that. And maybe if you could share, to get started with our audience here, if you could share a little bit of your background and experience in investing in real estate.
Okay. Well, I've always had an interest in old houses. I visited farms over the years during my horse training years, used to train horses, fell in love with the craftsmanship of the old farmhouses, and began to take interest in other types of real estate as well. And I managed a couple of rentals. My husband, Dale, and I owned and oversaw a couple big renovations in them. And I realized during that time, while I was managing that, I realized the energy, and I had a real knack for it. And then a few years went by, raised some kids, and then I stumbled onto a real estate investor conference coming up in a nearby city. It was in Tacoma. So I decided to go check it out. And they talked about all the ways to invest in real estate and offered a comprehensive 2-year mastery course complete with personal coaching for all aspects of real estate, including the successful rehab of many types of houses. And I joined the program and jumped in with both feet, traveled all the United States doing conferences and learned how to rehab just different types of houses in different states. And it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot.
Well, it sounds like it. That's a pretty comprehensive program for a 2-year with personal coaching and stuff. And I know from talking with you and your husband, some of the projects you've done, they obviously did a pretty good job coaching you and giving you guys the tools. Now, you'd mentioned that you had a couple rental houses to start with. How did you guys come across those?
Well, both of us lived in one before we got married. And we got married, and then we moved in another one, and then we bought another one, and then we used them both for rentals.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's a good progression. Yeah. There's guys out there now teaching that as what they call a house hack. You move into it, you live there, you fix it up, then you rent it and move into someplace else. So,
I came with the house, and so did he when we got married. So.
Oh, that's funny. So what is your guys' current focus? What are you currently focusing on as far as real estate investing?
Well, right at the moment, my current focus in the last several months since we experienced the housing shift in 2023 has been short-term and mid-term rentals, though I'm also currently looking into co-living, trying to learn a little about that.
Yeah, again, that's a new kind of upcoming niche that the market changes all the time. I mean, with the short term, VRBO, that kind of stuff was a really good program, and then communities started shutting it down because, unfortunately, you didn't always get good tenants, and large parties, much destruction, lots of noise, and so a lot of especially HOA communities in the bigger cities are not allowing anything less than 30-day rentals and, those kind of things. So the market has changed, and you always got to kind of be, on top of that.
I buy things outside of HOAs, which helps. So I won't buy anything in an HOA.
Yeah, we do every now and then we'll buy in HOAs, but we really try to buy outside of HOAs. It's just, there's a whole lot less hassle with it from our standpoint, from our investing standpoint, and it's less expensive because you're not having to pay, the HOA. Some of them have, what do they call them, capital improvement fees. $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 capital improvement fees when you purchase them, and we ran into an issue out here in Sun City, Arizona, where they wanted the capital improvement fee when we purchased it, and when we were going to sell the house in 45 days, they wanted the capital improvement fee again. Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
So-
well, one downfall that about not having Airbnbs in a non-HOA is you can't control the neighbors. So
Right.
that's the only thing that has, hindered. I got a couple bad reviews because of somebody going by the house, after midnight with loud music or something like that, so.
So yeah, some things are out of your control. Like you buy a nice house and got nice neighbors, and then the house next door sells, and the guy moves in and decides to start a wrecking yard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is one of the issues with not being in an HOA. But how long have you been investing? Let's count all the way back to when you guys started your first rental. How many years have you guys been doing this?
Well, it would be probably close to 25 years if you go back that far when we first started. But that's just with the rentals. Now, as far as my company, my redevelopment company called Sunspot Property Solutions, LLC, I joined that mastery program at the end of 2017. So, we're about 7 years with that company.
Okay, so pretty active for about the last 7 years anyways.
Yes, very active for the last 7 years, yes.
Okay. Well, what inspired you to start a real estate investing business? Let's say 2016 and you're not investing in real estate, and then all of a sudden 2017 comes and you see this class. And what really kind of inspired you to kind of head that direction?
Well, there's nothing like real estate investing to create generational wealth. And I saw it as a means to get us where we wanted to go. We also are involved in ministry, and it has opened up, and we saw that it could open us up to and free us up to allow us to give more with ministry and to be involved more with ministry after we got this thing off and running really good. And it has
Right.
It's actually become ministry as well. And it's also something we can be involved in as a family. I involve my kids and grandkids often, and some are even paid employees now. And when they were young, I was a homeschool mom, and I worked from home doing what I could to earn extra money so I could teach them and not have to send them to daycare. And one of my older daughters, Paige, she even told me not long ago, she said, "Mom, you could make money from dirt." And, it's because I've got that entrepreneur thing going on, and I've always just tried to make a way to make money to keep my kids,
Right.
keep me at home as much as possible too.
Well, one thing about it, when you're selling real estate, you literally are making money from dirt because, so, well, Yeah, and it's good to see the kids involved with you in your business. As Aaron's been involved with my wife and I for the last 10 years in our church activities, and he actually worked in my real estate company for a while. And our youngest one, Aaron, he worked in the real estate company doing video for us in the early days too. So it's nice when you have family working together and they can all kind of get a vision for where the legacy lies, because this is about them and it's about the grandkids. It's not about me, and I know you and Dale are the same way. It's not about you guys. It's about the legacy, what your kids and grandkids will have. So, how many other real estate related businesses do you own besides Sunspot?
Well, besides Sunspot, we have Promised Land Construction. That's a general contractor construction company. We do both residential and commercial construction, and PLC Capital, which is a rental holding company and private lender.
Okay, and what all does Sunspot do?
Well, Sunspot, we hired locally. Our motto is restoring communities one home at a time. We get involved with the community. We get involved in the neighborhoods and try to make an impact on the neighborhood. So it's not just about flipping houses. It's more about getting involved with the neighborhood and fixing up the neighborhood.
Okay, so Sunspot Property Solution, that's your fix and flip, your rehab, and then again, you guys subcontract with local contractors and try to restore communities. That's a great vision or a great purpose to have as an investor. When you started Sunspot Property Solutions, you guys were, if I remember right, working out of the state of Washington. You guys lived just southwest of Olympia in a town called Oakville, and kind of worked the Elma-Aberdeen corridor, kind of Highway 8 area. Is that kind of correct, or correct me if you guys have changed your location?
Oh, yes, that we did formally. The company was first formed in the state of Nevada due to more favorable limited liability laws than Washington. So Washington was actually a second state license. And our first flip houses were in Grays Harbor County, which is along that corridor.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how far inward east do you go? So Grays Harbor goes obviously all the way from the Pacific Ocean along Highway 8, and then runs into Thurston County. I don't know if Mason County is in between that, but runs into Thurston County.
So yeah, those counties plus Lewis County. So those are the counties that we generally work in. Yeah.
Okay. So you
buy things in Washington.
Okay. So then you work from Olympia, maybe down to Centralia, Chehalis, maybe it's Longview, that kind of area.
Yeah, that direction too. Yes.
Oh, okay. And are there other areas that I think you guys are in other states. I mean, you mentioned Florida, Nevada, Washington. Where all are you operating?
Yeah, it's Nevada, Washington, Florida, and Iowa.
Oh, the Iowa. That one gets me. How did you end up in Iowa?
Well, I wanted to help my stepdaughter and her family. She's got 10 kids. They were living in a small house that they were renting. And so I went looking for houses when I was there visiting. And I thought, I'm gonna help find them a house. So I got this house under contract. They live there in Iowa. I got this house under contract with Sunspot. I got licensed there. And I ended up just assigning it to them. But I wasn't sure if they were going to qualify for a loan or anything, and if I was going to buy it, and then, I wasn't sure. So anyway, I just wanted to help them get a house. So that's how it got started. And so two of the companies, I also licensed Promised Land Construction there as well.
Okay. Well, it's always interesting to hear kind of the story or the journey, because obviously when you guys you got into the rental market just because of meeting Dale, and you guys both having houses, and then moving out to where you are. Now, Dale just recently retired. He worked for a door company for many years, manufacturing doors, but he also, I remember when we were going to church together, he came over and helped build the mother's room. So very talented. So tell me a little bit about kind of how that journey, because obviously he's an integral part of your company and what you guys are doing.
Well, he was my weekend warrior for a while he was still working at that company, and helped me on the weekends and, working on stuff after work and stuff. And I told him that I needed to do one more deal and with Sunspot, and then I was going to create a construction company, which would allow him to quit that job and retire that job. And
right.
So it happened. It was an amazing day when I came and rescued him from that place. He worked for 31 years.
And, I know he's been there a long time.
Yes, he had, and couldn't be happier now. He works in the construction company when we need to have an extra hand. He's there. Sometimes he just goes and gets materials and checks on jobs, and if we have enough workers. And so he's working today because we're down some workers. So anyway, yeah. So he's kind of half retired, but half not. But he loves what he does.
He's too young to be full retired. I think we're about the same age, so he needs to be out there working. So things have changed kind of in the real estate market in the last couple of years. Nobody knows that better than you do. But tell me a little bit about what the business has been like for you guys the last couple of years.
Well, going back a little bit, in 2020 through 2022, I was on a roll. I had systems down good. My next flips lined up when others were completing. Bid wars on my houses because of the features I put in the houses. I put a little extra in them, which people love. And I had private lenders and very little out of pocket. And then comes 2023 market shift. I had to sit on the market too long and price reductions. I decided to change my strategy and hold things until things leveled out some. So that's where I've been right there, is I decided to hold things. But I am looking for I'm looking into co-living more. I've got property in Florida that I can build 3 houses on, so I'm planning that next. And I'm also looking for a flip house in Washington again. I like the full gut remodels, and so one thing I've had a problem with is private lenders wanting to, have a longer term, like a 12 months, instead of just 3. Right. Like some of them were, we were just knocking them out 3 months, and the private lenders love that. But they are more apprehensive with holding on to that for as long as it takes to do a full gut. But that's where the money's at. That's where the money's spent, and that is what I like to do the most, is the full gut remodel.
Yeah, and I'm hoping those are going to come back too, because like you said, I mean, there's been a shift, but that definitely is the market you guys need to be.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to move into other states too, because that was going to be my focus. Before that market shift happened, I already was looking at 2 other states, getting licensed in 2 other states, and going a different direction, and setting up some teams there too. So it'd be nice to just pick up where I left off.
Right.
Well, that leads me kind of, I guess, to what I'd want to ask you next. Where do you see the real estate investing company kind of heading next? I mean, he's talking about other states. Where do you really see it going maybe in the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, pretty much that's it. I'd like to develop my Florida property. I bought this huge plantation home there in Florida, and I renovated it and rent out rooms and the full house right now. And but it was on a large lot, so I divided it. And so I could build 3 more houses there. I also have a garage there that I could set up for a co-living situation too. And so that's really where my next steps are, that direction, and just getting the funding. I don't like using hard money if I don't have to. And, so just getting more lenders would be good. And, I've got a decent track record. So I just need to get it out there and get that all established better.
Well, we're almost out of time here. I do want to thank you for being on the podcast today, taking time out of, your busy schedule.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
And I've got so many more questions for you. In fact, if you're available, I'd love to see if I could get you on next week's program.
Okay, that'd be great. I should be able to accommodate that. I'll check my calendar and let you know.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode. We've been talking with Beth Eaton of Sunspot Property Solutions on this episode, Real Estate Investor Mom Cracks Success Code. Thank you for joining me on this episode. If you found this episode of Real Estate Investor Mom Cracks Success Code helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can always find the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast on Spotify, our iHeartRadio podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. This has been Scott Whitwam. Be sure to join me on our next episode of the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast, where we are wealth building through real estate.